Now you just had a wreck. Look out! Look out! Break glass! Break glass! Break glass! Get out the car! Get out! Get out! Tires are flat. Move! Come on!
This situation escalated in seconds, but one wrong decision turned it into something far more serious. What started as a routine police response quickly became a dangerous chain of events involving multiple collisions, civilians at risk, and a child inside the vehicle. This is how everything went wrong, and the critical mistakes that made it worse. Police were responding to reports of reckless driving when they located the vehicle and attempted to bring the situation under control. At this point, the goal was simple: stop the driver, assess the situation, and ensure public safety. But instead of cooperating, the driver hesitated, and that hesitation is where everything began to change. As officers and civilians positioned themselves around the vehicle, the environment became tense. The driver was surrounded with no clear escape route. At that moment, there were only two choices: comply or resist. And this is where the first critical mistake was made. Instead of following instructions, the driver made a sudden and dangerous decision, using the vehicle to push forward. What was once a controlled situation instantly turned chaotic. Vehicles were struck, people were forced to move out of the way, and in that moment the car was no longer just transportation, it became a threat. As the driver continued attempting to escape, the situation escalated rapidly. Each movement increased the danger, not just for law enforcement, but for nearby civilians. Vehicles were hit. People reacted instantly to avoid being injured, and with every second that passed, the situation became harder to control. Instead of slowing down, the driver continued pushing forward, even as the consequences began to multiply. At this point, something even more concerning became clear. There was a child inside the vehicle. Despite the growing danger, the actions continued. This changed everything, because now the risk was not just outside the car, it was inside as well. Even after the vehicle sustained damage, the attempt to flee did not stop. A damaged tire meant reduced control, higher risk, and a greater chance of something going seriously wrong. But instead of stopping, the driver kept going. And this is where pressure takes over. In high-stress situations, the human brain shifts into survival mode. Decision-making becomes reactive instead of logical. Instead of thinking about long-term consequences, the focus becomes immediate escape. But this is where many people make their biggest mistakes, because panic leads to decisions that make the situation worse. At this stage, the situation had fully escalated. What may have started as a routine stop had now turned into multiple serious incidents, damage, public danger, and increasing legal consequences, and all of it could have been avoided with a different decision earlier on. Eventually, the situation was brought under control. The driver was stopped and taken into custody. The child inside the vehicle was unharmed, but the consequences of what happened do not end there. Situations like this don't just result in arrest, they lead to long-term consequences that can affect every part of a person's life. What could have been a manageable situation becomes something much more serious, all because of a series of decisions made under pressure. The most important lesson here is simple. In moments of stress, your decisions matter more than ever. Staying calm, thinking clearly, and choosing to comply can prevent a situation from escalating beyond control. Because, as this case shows, one decision can change everything that comes after.
She's not gonna make it far. Go. Didn't want to do that. Help over here. I got you.
Sir.
Ma'am. We got it.
I know I'm buckled, sir. I know I'm buckled, sir.
Yeah.
Sir. I didn't do anything. I didn't do it, sir.
You just tried to kill 10 people.
No, I didn't, sir.
Alex, switch back to me.
No. Sir, stop. Sir, I didn't do it. Stop. You have... No. Why have you done... Stop. Stop. I didn't do it.
It won't fit. It won't fit. Get it. Make it fit.
Stop. I did not do it. I did not do whatever you guys are talking about. I did not do anything you guys are talking about.
I need to wreck 3 police cars.
No, I did not.
And a couple of others.
About 3 freaking stop signs ago and started saying that I was driving recklessly and I was not.
Well,
You could have killed that kid. I didn't do anything. Yes, you did. You almost killed 3 fucking people. How, lady? What did I do? Don't even ask how. How? You killed 3 people.
Put her in my car. Yeah. Yeah, no, we're good. Thank you.